Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that very much. Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution includes very clear language. And of course, it says in relevant part, quote, the president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment, unquote. Some presidents, of course, have used this power more than others. They do this based upon their own conceptualization of justice, their own respective judgments. And most of the country has always respected that. For instance, President Trump issued 237 total pardons and commutations during his term of office in 4 years, 237. By comparison, President Obama issued 1,927 pardons and commutations. President Bush issued 200, and President Clinton issued 457. So the numbers vary. President Obama issued pardons or commutations, many of which were very controversial. He, for example, included Chelsea Manning, who endangered national security by leaking classified information. Oscar Rivera Lopez, a top FALN leader and terrorist, and his Joint Chiefs of Staff Vice Chairman James Cartwright, who lied to federal investigators. President Bush commuted the sentence of Louis Scooter Libby, which was controversial in some circles. President Clinton issued pardons or commutations to his own brother for drug-related offenses, to fugitive political donor Mark Rich, to his CIA director, his housing security secretary, and several individuals who were convicted for their actions during the scandals of his own administration. Most recently, President Trump pardoned Roger Stone and Michael Flynn. All these presidents exercised their judgment and issued pardons that were controversial with the opposing party and with many segments of the public. But despite the broad use of the pardon power that has varied from president to president throughout our entire history, the majority introduced the Abuse of Power Prevention Act last Congress. Republicans explained that the bill was unconstitutional at a committee markup last July. Nevertheless, the committee favorably reported the bill on a party line vote. Additionally, the chairman recently introduced the proposed constitutional amendment that he just mentioned to narrow the pardon power. I have several significant concerns with this proposed amendment. Many of us do. Among other issues, it vaguely declares that, quote, pardons issued for a corrupt purpose shall be invalid. The problem there is that it's pretty vague and overbroad language. There's not any framework or workable standard to determine what exactly amounts to a corrupt purpose. I'm sure that the majority would argue that certain pardons issued by President Trump were issued for a corrupt purpose, while most Republicans would argue they serve the interest of justice by ending politically motivated prosecutions. This very issue of partisan passions affecting the judgment of Congress is precisely why the founders structured the pardon clause exactly as they did. Alexander Hamilton argued against legislative involvement in the pardon power because he said, quote, when the offense had proceeded from causes which had inflamed the resentments of the major party, they might often be found obstinate and inexorable when policy demanded a conduct of forbearance and clemency, unquote. James Madison similarly argued that legislative involvement in the pardon power would be improper because, quote, numerous bodies actuated more or less by passion and might in the moment of vengeance forget humanity, unquote. Similarly, a narrower pardon power was proposed during the Constitutional Convention for precisely the same reasons that the majority advances today. For good reason, that proposal was soundly defeated. The pardon power is best vested in the president, as it was designed in the Constitution, for a president to exercise as they see fit based upon their personal judgment and notion of justice. I thank our witnesses for appearing before the subcommittee this morning. I look forward to your testimony, and I hope we can have a productive conversation. Mr. Chairman, with that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.